deal with airplane peanuts.
Get your tickets now. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Tim Dillon live, October 8th.
I've been getting a little bit of flack just because, like, my dad died 9/11, so they're like, how could you possibly go there?
And everyone's like, yeah, you should do it. Everyone's doing it. It's like, for Saudis? Weren't those the 9/11 guys?
I mean, they literally, Saudi Arabia did 9/11. We're just going to kind of let that one slide, I guess.
Completely funded it.
I'll bomb over there, see how they like it.
I think some names we're not going to like are doing it.
A lot of people are doing it, like a lot, like almost everyone. They bought comedy.
Are you nervous about Saudi Arabia or no?
Nah, it'll be great. I'm a Jew. They love us over there.
More than 40 of the most famous comedians on Earth are all heading to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia to take part in what their government has deemed the world's largest comedy festival that will run from September 26th through October 9th and legitimately feature the biggest names in comedy. From Dave Chappelle, Louis C.K., both Kevin Hart and Bill Burr all saying yes, the offers to perform in Riyadh reportedly started at $150,000, with the biggest acts receiving north of $1.6 million. But even with all of the popular comics who have agreed to sign on, there's still two very tall reasons people have a problem with this event.
And everyone's like, yeah, you should do it. Everyone's doing it. It's like, for Saudis?
Yeah.
Weren't those the 9/11 guys?
So I thought.
Aren't they exactly the 9/11 guys?
It was Iran, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's all been Iran this whole time.
The elephant in the room when it comes to the Riyadh Comedy Festival basically boils down to American comedians accepting money directly from the guys who funded 9/11 and who chop up journalists, which altogether doesn't sound like a great place to do stand-up. Obviously, this is not the Saudis' first time forking out exuberant amounts of money to purchase American entertainment, with pro wrestling and Live Golf being the two prime examples prior to this festival. In fact, Live Golf even funded the first season of Andrew Santino's golf podcast, No Bad Lies. The full list of notable attendees includes Aziz Ansari, Bill Burr, Jimmy Carr, Dave Chappelle, Louis C.K., Whitney Cummings, Pete Davidson, Chris Stefano, Kevin Hart, Gabriel Iglesias, Jim Jeffries, Jessica Kierson, Joe Coy, Bobby Lee, Sebastian Maniscalco, Sam Morril, Mark Normand, Russell Peters, Jeff Ross, Andrew Santino, Andrew Schultz, Tom Segura, and Chris Tucker.
Number one, everyone should be doing it. Everyone should be getting every dollar they can. This has been my consistent position for my entire life. And, I mean, I don't care if they execute half the comics in front of me. Before I go on the stage and I'm doing my act in Jessica Kierson's blood.
Jessica Kierson's blood.
I mean, anyone surprised by me going, I don't know if they've ever heard anything I've ever said.
It is.
I'm not surprised at all.
It's the most.
By the way, not only am I surprised, I support it, and it makes total sense to me.
No, it's the most on-brand move. Dude, once I saw your poster, I was like, it's weird that Tim does shows not in Saudi Arabia.
Me and Sebastian Maniscalco are going to be hand to thief. I'll tell you exactly. I don't give a shit.
Please.
I wanted $500,000. They wouldn't do it. They gave me $375,000. I said, I'll do it. For one show.
Well, turns out so would I. So carry on, Timothy. Carry on.
I'll be very honest. And I was going to say it on my show. I'm going to say exactly on my show what I got paid to do it and why I'm supporting the regime, the Saudis, Wahhabism.
Private jet or corporate?
Private jet.
Oh yeah, what's the accommodations?
And the accommodations, they're dope, right?
I'm staying in the Ritz where they tied everybody up.
People who aren't going to Riyadh have been vocally concerned about the morality and the safety of the comedians going for obvious reasons, but for a few of these comedians, it won't be their first time performing over there. Granted, this is the first large-scale comedy festival, but American comedy has successfully occurred in these areas many times before, including nearly 2 years ago in October of 2023 when Andrew Schultz safely toured the Middle East with little to no restrictions placed on his material.
And you know, because you're like, oh, I don't know if they take it from me. It's like, I don't know. I disagree. I disagree, bro. Schultz was over there talking shit, and I know it's like, oh, he's a white man saying it. It's like, yeah, but I think people like shit talk everywhere, bro. Why would any other human be different? You know what I'm saying?
Did they give you a guideline on things to talk about?
Yeah.
Like what you weren't allowed to talk about?
They were like, keep it not clean, but just like, oh, not too much sex. They were like trying to give you guidelines, and then none of us followed any of it.
That's so funny.
Not me, not Mark, not Schultz followed a single rule that they said. Bro, they were like, hey, just try to keep it, you know, talking about sex stuff or this kind of stuff and, you know, religion or politics. First words out of my mouth are, what's up, you brown ass? all these motherfucking Muslims, what's good? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, first words out of my mouth, yeah, we're like, yeah, you know? And then Schultz comes out like, you guys like on women's chests, you fucking weirdo, you know what I mean? And they're like, we do. You know, like literally he said so it's like, no, bro, everybody likes to be shit on.
That's so funny.
Literally they do.
Although the first-hand reports from the comics who have performed there in the past are promising, a government-sponsored festival is a lot different than an individual tour date. In fact, there already has been a line drawn by the Riyadh Comedy Festival when it comes to what you're allowed to make fun of, after they made the decision to fire Tim Dillon just a few weeks before his show at the Barker Al-Shadi Theater for jokes that he made about the Middle East while podcasting in the United States.
But he called me and he said, they heard what you said about them having slaves. And I said, I was being positive about it. I was defending them. He goes, well, I know that. I know you were defending them. I said, I was defending them for having slaves. I literally said, slaves are probably hard workers and for the most part, agreeable. But they didn't like that. You can literally support somebody too much. I've learned this. You can actually, by the way, in life, this happens. Too many compliments, too much support, and then they turn on you. I was saying that slaves were proud of some of the buildings they built. That's what I was saying. I was saying that if I was a slave, not that I want to be, if I was a slave, and I built a really nice thing, I might say to my slave children, Daddy built that. That's what I was saying, that I would have said, hey, Daddy built that. When my slave children said, ooh, look at that, I'd say, you know, Daddy built that. I was going that angle. Apparently, this got to the people in Saudi Arabia and they were unhappy about it. They're huge fans of comedy over there.
What happened to Tim Dillon proves in a lot of ways that they're probably not actually interested in expanding their horizons when it comes to free speech and comedy. And from his point of view, it honestly might have been a 4D chess move to accept their initial down payment and then purposely rant his way out of having to do any work. But Tim's not the only comedian who initially agreed to make the trip that won't end up performing. After Nimesh Patel released the following statement on Thursday, reading, quote, yeah, I'm not going to Saudi. I canceled last week. I did initially say yes, they offered a lot of money. And since you're checking my pockets, I'm not in a position to say no to life-changing money. But it wasn't life-changing, so I get to morally grandstand about saying thanks but no thanks. Just ask yourself, if you were offered enough money to retire your dad or spend a few more months at home with your family or buy a 911, would you forget 9/11? Besides maybe their king just being bored and in the mood for some zingers, I'm not really sure what the overall plan is here for the Saudis. It's not like one weekend in the Middle East is gonna indoctrinate all of America's most famous comedians into preaching Sharia law upon their return to the States. And if their logic is that by bringing stand-up to their country, they're showing the world a shift towards a more modern society, that idea has hilariously backfired because if anything, it's just shined a larger light on their issues, and the entire conversation in America has just been debating the ethics of people who are going.
I still don't completely get, why are you surprised by the people who are going?
These are all multimillionaires that want to make millions
already
of dollars.
living there.
Like, you're surprised that they're
Pete
not
Davidson.
taking a moral stance against performing in Saudi Arabia?
What's going on in Saudi Arabia, dude?
Is everything cool there?
Shane Gillis, who would definitely fall into that $1.6 million tier, allegedly had his initial offer doubled after saying no the first time and still ended up holding off. Which, yes, it's way easier for the biggest comic on earth who's in primetime commercials and selling out NBA arenas to turn down that type of money since he can make the same amount doing shows here. But Shane still does deserve credit for not folding because there were plenty of other super wealthy comics on that list who apparently received an offer they could not refuse, with the biggest head scratchers being Bill Burr, whose whole shtick the last few years has been hating on billionaires and greedy CEOs who do anything for money, and obviously Pete Davidson, whose dad died on September 11th.
I just, I get the routing and then I see the number and I go, I'll go.
Okay.
And also, there's part of me that's just like, I've been getting a little bit of flack just because like my dad died 9/11. So they're like, how could you possibly go there?
The truth is, all of us watching this video have probably not been offered hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to do anything ever, let alone just one night of the job that we'd probably be doing here anyway. But at the same time, the comedians who are going should not be surprised apologize if they have fans questioning that decision. The point of this video is not to cast any personal judgments, this is just the comedy news reporting the facts. But one thing you can count on around here is that we will never do anything just for the money. This video is brought to you by Lucy.
And now it's time to hear a quick word from the sponsor of today's video, Lucy. The 100% pure nicotine pouch that's always tobacco free, and Lucy Breakers, which are nicotine pouches with an extra surprise. Each pouch holds a capsule that can be broken open to release and bust extra flavor and hydration, and Lucy even has an option to set up a subscription service that will deliver their product straight to your door to ensure you never run out. Personally, I enjoy a nice wintergreen flavor while mowing the lawn or watching the big game, but you can throw in a Lucy wherever you want. Go to lucy.co/joke and use promo code JOKE to get 20% off your first order. Another great thing about Lucy is that they have a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that's lucy.co and use promo code JOKE to get 20% off. Now here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Guest spots from last week. Joe Rogan sat down with Taylor Kitsch, Andrew Santino, and Ian Edwards. Kill Tony featured James McCann and Dave Landau. James McCann and Andrew Wolf took a trip to Stuff Island. Adam Egget was on Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast. Dr. K went on Flagrant. Rory Scovel was on Are You Garbage? Garth Reynolds visited Stavi's World. Josh Wolf be trippin'. Rob Lowe and Adam Ray stopped by Something's Burning. Karen Fian went on First Date. Two Bears One Cave was Tom and James Gunn. Joe List sat on the couch with Soder. And also stopped by Sagdiet de Pod. Dan Soder and Colin Tyrell joined the Legion of Skanks. Nick Swartzen was on Whiskey Ginger. Rachel Wolfson attended the church. Rhett and Link took their shoes off with Rick Glassman. Story Wars was a battle between Ron Beddington, Ian Fidance, and Lemaire Lee. Lemaire was also on Dad Meat. Christina Mariani took a ride on the Harland Highway. Ian Bagg came all over your mom's house. We Might Be Drunk had on Rainn Wilson. And Dwight also visited the Adam Friedland Show.
I only did Leno. Obviously, I was not old enough to do Carson, but they would have the drink cart like down the hall and wheel in the drink cart, like
Really?
like with the the shakers and the cognac and
How
everything.
is Jay?
He was nothing but nice and supportive to me. So he
gets too much crap.
I think he gets too much crap. He was a really good, like, first of all, when he first started as a comic, like especially in like the late 70s and the 80s,
At the
like,
store.
he was edgy, or he was considered edgy.
Everyone from that era says there was one guy, and by far, he was the best, and it was Mr. Jay Leno.
Yeah.
And for people my age, we're like, oh, the guy that's like Monica Lewinsky? Like,
Yeah,
like we're like, that guy?
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, the Republicans are crazy, the Democrats are crazy. Like,
Yeah.
we're like, how, that guy was edgy? Yeah, but...
Yeah, apparently he wasn't, but he was always really nice to me, and I would go on and whore myself out to promote.
He
fucked
prostituted.
me.
He
Yeah,
prostituted
I really would.
Mr. Jay Leno.
Pete Davidson was on This Past Weekend with Theo Von. Lee Westwood hit the links on No Bad Lies. Drew Montana was on The Tim Bartley Show. JB Smoove did stuff with Howie Mandel. Angela Johnson Reyes was on Right Now. Ryan Foster and Josh Mateer were on Durag and the Deer Tag. Ty Marion stopped by Diaz Nuts. Lucas Nelson was on Birdcast. Under Oath and Lizzie Cassidy were on B and Ian without Jordan. Tim Heidecker broke bread with Tom Papa. Michael Ridley was on Big Natural Talk Show. Maddie Smith went on Jet Fuel. Chappelle Lacey and Kat Bird were on the Fat Fish podcast. James Mattern went to the Madhouse. Jeffrey Asmus, Devin Hall, and Keegan Tyndale stopped by You Know What Dude. Jeffrey also took a ride on the Dynamite rocket ship. Julio Torres worked it out. Burbs Bros had on Scott Chaplin and Marito Lopez. Heather Keith stopped by Ridley Radio Ridley. Sean Gardini was on Jim Norton Can't Save You. And Tuesdays with Stories, Son of a Boy Dad, The Tim Dillon Show, Chubby Behemoth, Rough Week, Cockfight, Solid Show, The Duncan Trussell Family Hour, Panties in the Mouth, Beautiful Boys, Bad Friends, and History Hyenas all did not have guests. As far as new stand-up comedy specials that are either out right now or coming out soon, Chris Gerhardt, A Father and the Son, is out on the 800-Pound Gorilla channel. Christella Alonso, Upper Classy, is out on Netflix. Ian Edwards, Untitled, is out on YouTube, along with Chris Higgins, Live at the Fort, and Shane Todd, Whatever I Need to Be. We also have a few projects in the works right now that will be coming out soon. That list starts on September 30th with Earthquake, Joke-Telling Business, coming out on Netflix. On October 4th, Cam Patterson will make his SNL debut. On November 4th, Leanne Morgan, Unspeakable Things, comes out on Netflix. And Mark Normand has filmed his next special as well, although there's no word on where it will be released yet.
You turn over material incredibly quickly. I'm always very impressed.
Hey, thanks.
You're filming another special.
Yeah, next week. Yeah, in Colorado.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
So I'll try to sell that to 4chan or whoever will buy it.
And not technically specials, but Josh Johnson uploaded a 43-minute set about the Jimmy Kimmel situation. There's also new episodes of Roast Battle League and Dr. Phil Live out on YouTube, along with episode 6 of La Mascots on the Out of Order channel, and episode 6 of Matt McCusker's series of animated shorts. And last but not least, it's somehow already about that time for the Best of the Month compilation for September 2025 right here on Joke World. So lock in right now with the subscription button and all the other bells and whistles to ensure that you don't miss that video and become a local laughingstock. And as always, the Real Comedy Sickos can watch the Best of the Week compilation every single Friday, only available on the Joke World Patreon for just $5 a month. But for being so nice and watching this entire video, you specifically can get half off right now with promo code PEANUTS. Like airplane peanuts, not like the word penis. Okay, thank you for watching this whole video, and I hope it improves your day. Or night. Or whatever it is. Okay.
At Joke World. That's it, at Joke World.
And the world is WRLD.
That's a great YouTube channel, Joke World. Check it out.